Right. Right, there we go. As I said, I was doing a live Q&A. Right. Right, there we go. As I said, there we go, that's muted. As I said, I'm doing a live Q&A, I'm doing a live Q&A, but first of all, I'm going to have a quick game because I haven't played this for ages, so you can bear with me. Alright, there's one person watching now. Hello, I don't know who you are. Say hello, give me a wave. Say something in the chat so I know you're here. And as I say, it is a live Q&A, but I'm just going to have a quick game of COD because I haven't played Call of Duty for ages. And also, let me know if you can hear me. I'm pretty sure you can. So it's a Friday afternoon. What date is it? It's Friday afternoon. It is the 11th of June, so we're almost kind of in the middle of summer, as they say. I'll tell you what, have a quick game with Newtown and then sort of done with it quick. Yeah, it's almost the middle of June, the 11th of June, and as I say, I've got this Q&A. Now, the reason why I'm doing this Q&A is because I did a poll and I said, should I do a Q&A? And somebody said, yeah, and he wrote down a load of questions. I said, write down some questions, and he wrote a load of questions. And I did half of those questions on the Q&A the other week, and I thought I'd do the rest of the questions today. But also, if you've got any other questions, I'll do those as well. So, first of all, I've got three people watching. Let me know that you can hear me and you can see everything okay. So, just put a message in the chat there to let me know you can hear me and the sound is okay. Alright, it should be. You should also have game sound as well. Yeah, you have desktop audio as well. I might turn that down a little bit. That might be a bit loud, so I'll turn that down and my volume should be okay. Alright, so just let me know. Alright, here we go. Bit of Call of Duty, Newtown, and then we'll get into the Q&A. I'll pull up the questions, and if you've got any other questions, write them in. Just drop me a question there, and I will definitely try and answer it. It could be a question about anything. This Q&A is really about anything. It's about flight simulation, it's about me, about anything, the meaning of life, whatever. But the answer to the meaning of life is 48 anyway, so that's easy. Right, here we go. Bit of Call of Duty, bit of COD, Newtown.
Team deathmatch.
I'm not very good at COD.
Spetsnaz, assert your dominance.
It's more fun than anything else.
Eyes on combat ball.
spy plane inbound. Spy planes detected.
That wasn't bad. That was a interesting kill streak.
Hostile spy plane established overhead.
Death machine ready.
Assaulting with death machine.
Enemy napalm strike incoming. Mission goals are in sight. Take the win.
Ah!
We're down.
That was terrible.
Enemies destroyed your sentry turret.
Your fucking fire!
Hostile care package inbound. Enemy sentry turret detected in your AO.
I know it's random.
Combat boat.
Hostile RCXT in your AO. Mission complete.
Oh, that
Clean up crews, ensure there are no survivors.
was good. So there we go.
That, Liam, is how we do it.
Ooh, yeah, nice.
So long, you piece of trash.
Oops, mouse on the floor. Ah, there we go. Right, so let's shut this down and pull this up. Hang on, let's get this over here. Let's do that. Hang on, I'm getting all lost here. Here we are. Oops. So there we are. Right, hi guys, how are we all? Hope everybody's okay. As I say, it's Friday afternoon, it's the 11th of June, and I've got just a few questions remaining from the other week. So once again, say hi, hello everybody. Let's give you a hello. So it's Friday afternoon here in the UK. It's sometime in the morning on the east coast of the United States, and it's probably mid-morning in, I was going to say Florida, but California, east coast Florida, it's around about 9 a.m., something like that. And going the other way to the other parts of the world, it's going to be night time. So in the Middle East, it's going to be night time. Spain, it'll be 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and so forth and so on as we go around the world. Anyway, hello, welcome, X-Plane Dedicated. My name is Wycliffe Barrett, as if you didn't know already, and you know, everything's good. Okay, I'm just watching the stream, and I seem to be way behind. Maybe it was on pause or something. Anyway, so let me pull up these questions, right? As I say, I did a Q&A a few weeks ago, and I had a load of questions from then. And the person who wrote the question, I think he wrote about 20 questions, and I've done half of them, and I said I would do the next half in another show, so here we are. And the next question on the list, which I think was question 11, I did 10 questions, and question 11, I'm pretty sure I haven't answered this one. I might have, I'm not quite sure, but I'll start at question 11 anyway. He said, what's your next hardware upgrade, and will it be GPU, CPU, etc.? Well, I think my next hardware upgrade is going to be a kind of a full upgrade. As you know, for a number of years I've been sponsored by Wired to Fire, and although they provided my machine for me, I paid for it. So the present machine, I paid full cost for that. But who knows what might happen in the future, but I think it will be a full upgrade. So it's going to be a new motherboard, RAM, chip, and graphics card. If anybody wants to make a donation to that fund, well, then you can do that through PayPal. I believe my PayPal is on my YouTube channel, so if you want to make a donation, please feel free. But yeah, I think it'd be a full upgrade. If I don't do a full upgrade, I think the next thing will be a graphics card, new graphics card, because my graphics card is NVIDIA GTX 1080. It's getting a little bit long in the tooth. It still manages okay, but in some instances it's not so good. So yeah, maybe, because I've got 32 gig of RAM. I've got good RAM. The processor is an i7 4770. And the 1080 GTX, or maybe the next upgrade could be a graphics card, if I don't do the full thing. So I think that probably answers it. I don't need anything else. I've got all the hardware I need. I've got a nice 32-inch curved monitor. I've got two 19-inch monitors. I've got my flight controller, my Cytec X52, and the Thrustmaster rudder pedals. So I don't really need anything else in terms of that kind of hardware, peripherals or anything, but certainly maybe a new graphics card. Maybe. Who knows? So then somebody asked me, I was then asked, would I ever jump across to MSFS? And the short answer is no. Not as a serious simulator anyway. And I'll tell you for why. And you'll see also coming on screen in a minute. The reason why I won't jump across to MSFS is that at the present time I don't think it's really worth it. It's not a full, well-rounded flight simulator as far as I can see. It's got a ways to go before it does that, and when I say a ways, it's going to be a good few years. Now, what it has been interesting is seeing. What has been interesting is been seeing the development of it as a viable kind of simulator, and I'll show you what I mean by if we go here, and I bring this up on screen, right? So this is flightsim.to, and this is where the community does all its kind of development stuff. So this is all the freeware stuff that you can get, and I have to say there's an awful lot of stuff in here which makes it really, really quite interesting. And at some point or another, this will end up a little like xplane.org. It'll give you everything that you need, I think. And I think that is quite good. There are some clever people out there, and they've kind of produce sceneries and what have you, and I reinstalled this last night, not in preparation for this, but I did reinstall it last night. Now if I could see Paris looking like that, I'd be really pleased, but I'm not sure, because they did a UK update, and the UK update was I thought it was really poor. I went to Cardiff, my home city, and it didn't look anything like Cardiff. But on that website, on what is it called again? I can never remember. On flightsim.to, there is a Cardiff. You can get a Cardiff. Not Cardiff Airport. So I'm not on about Cardiff Airport. I'm on about Cardiff, the city. And it doesn't look so bad. I mean, here we have it here. See if we can find some pictures of it. And looking at that, that doesn't look too bad. I mean, it does look like Cardiff City, for sure. I mean, you've got the Millennium Stadium there, you've got St David's Shopping Centre through here, and Motor Point Arena here. There's quite a bit missing out of this, I will be honest, because there is an awful lot of development in the city. Okay, you've got Cardiff Bay down here, the Bay Area, although I think that needs to be smartened up a little bit. But it's fairly good. It's fairly accurate. Don't get me wrong. And this is the sports village, the International Sports Village with the swimming pool there. And there's something missing here. I'm trying to find it, and it's the white water rafting centre, which is missing. But you've got the international swimming pool, etc. So the International Sports Village there, and the city centre. So yeah, that is pretty cool. Although I think it needs updating, and I mean, unfortunately, the Cardiff Airport is rubbish. It is absolutely terrible. I mean, the BA hangar doesn't look anything like that. That's not at all good. That's cargo area. Not too bad, but the lines are too thick. The markings are just too thick. The car park for Cardiff Airport, that looks pretty good. But that's about it. Yeah. Okay, you've got the viaduct there, the railway. This looks really good. At this level, this looks really good. That's exactly what it does look like in the car parking area outside the airport. But this bit here, the front of the airport there, that's not accurate, and the lines are way too thick. The BA hangar looks nothing like that, and the airport looks nothing like that either. The terminal looks nothing. I mean, it's the shape, but it's wrong, completely and utterly. So I don't know who's done that. But that bit, all that bit, that looks really good. But the front here, this is wrong. I mean, it's got the footprint is right, but the actual architecture is wrong, and the tower is wrong. So, yeah, that's a bit meh as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, definitely not good. And they've only got one aircraft over there at the what do you call it? The fire practice area. Yeah, it's all a bit meh for me. But anyway. So going back to the simulator itself, for me, I hate saying this, but but I know I'm right. For me, it's nothing more than a what do you want to call it? What do you call it? It's nothing more than a sightseeing thing. I certainly wouldn't use this as a serious flight simulator, and I'm not even going to go into it. Or maybe, what's this? These are the landing challenges, aren't they? Well, I once thought. Oh yeah, these landing challenges where they put the silly lines on everything, and you can kind of have a look at it. From Nice to the Côte d'Azur. Yeah, it's a landing challenge. I just don't. To me, it's too gamey as well. It's just a bit gamey for me. And I certainly, as I say, it would not be my go-to flight simulator. Yes, I want to quit. So yeah, apologies, but that's the way it is, isn't it? So no, I won't be jumping across to MSFS as a serious sim, but every now and again I might jump into it to do a bit of sightseeing, go and find my house, so to speak. Do I play any other games or Sims apart from XP? Well, yes, I do. As we've seen, I play COD. All right, you couldn't see the screenshots because of my face cam. Oh, I'm awfully sorry. I'm sorry about that. Do you want me to go back? Are you sure you downloaded the UK scenery package? It's on the MS Mac. Yeah, I did. I did, my friend. I did. But since I've reinstalled it, I can't find it. I can't find MSFS now because you put the files in a different place, don't you? And I thought I'd install it into my big drive here, but c'est la vie. All I've got is Microsoft Office, and it wouldn't have gone into my C drive because I simply haven't got enough space. Microsoft Office game input. What's that? Oh gosh, no. What's this? Nope. So I don't know where it's gone because I can't find it. And curiously enough, if you click on thing like this, you can't find any properties. No, I don't want to do that. So you can't even find where it's located. I'll sort that out another time. I mean, I did that last night. Sorry, David. I could restart it if you want, but we'll see. My stream seems to keep pausing. See users. Alright, here we go. Thanks, Tom. Thank you. See users. Wycliffe. This thing went off, Tom, so I can't see where you went. Right. Ooh, is it in that? Roman? I don't know. I'll find it another time. I really can't be bothered. I will find it. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying, let's have a look at the questions. So, do you play any other games or Sims apart from XP? Right, I do. I play, as you could see, I play Call of Duty. I also play, I like role-playing games as well, RPGs. So things like Diablo. I played Diablo. I played Raid Mobile on the phone, but that's a little bit. It's not very good. And in fact, Diablo. It's an old version of Diablo. That is really clunky, but good fun. And I play kind of. I used to play Formula One and Dangerous Elite, or Elite Dangerous, should I say, and things like that. So I do play other games. At one time I used to have an Xbox, and I would play loads of Xbox games, but I got rid of the Xbox because I wasn't using it enough. I wasn't using all the capabilities of the Xbox. I was only using it for playing games, which was a bit silly. And of course, since you can get a lot of Xbox stuff on the PC, I started doing that. So yeah, but I like playing some of the classics like Sid Meier's Civilization, which was an absolutely brilliant game and really, seminal when it came out. It was absolutely unbelievable. But of course, because I do so many things, and I've got so many interests, the amount of time that I have for flight simulation is diminished, and mostly because of my new hobby, which is drone racing, which can take up quite a bit of time, mostly all day Saturday, maybe an evening in the week, but also then maybe if I'm doing some repair work or doing some building of a racing drone. Let me get one. So let me get this one. So the racing drones, okay, and let me see if it makes sure you can see this on camera. I want to make sure you can see. So the racing drones, here we are. It's not you can buy these ready built, but more often than not, what happens is that we build them. So it's a carbon frame, as you can see. It's a carbon fiber frame, and then there's all the electronics. Hang on, let me lift this up so you can see. So all the electronics on the inside there, yeah. So you buy all the different components. You have to solder everything on. The motors, your individual motors here. They all have to be wired and soldered in. The camera here, and the video transmitter as well. They're very, very complex, and trying to learn all of this was like learning a new language for me. It really was learning a new language, because I've never been into electronics, so I had to learn how to read a wiring diagram, and then soldering. I'd never soldered before, so I had to learn soldering, and a whole raft of new skills, just to be able to, build one of these. And then you've got to fly them, and you've got radio transmitters and everything. And that, to build one of these, when I first started, to build one could take you anywhere between 4 to 6 hours. All right, because in the past there would be more components. Now everything is just getting better. The technology is getting better and better, so you don't need as many individual components now, because they have them on these things here, which is known as an all-in-one. So that board in there, that board there, where I got my finger, that is an all-in-one, and you've got your flight controller, your ESCs, and your VTX is all on the one board. Whereas previously you would have individual ESCs, so where these blue things are, right, you would have ESCs under each one of them. So you'd have to wire the motor into the ESC, and then the ESC into the flight controller. You don't need to do that now. So whereas it used to take 6 hours to build one, I could probably build one in 2 hours, But even so, it's not just a case of building it. You've got to test it against all different software, etc., etc. So yeah, so that's another hobby, which takes up quite a bit of time. Then there's controlling VATSIM, because I'm a VATSIM controller, and that can take up time. When you do control, you probably control for an evening, from like say 6 o'clock until 10 o'clock at night. So that's another day, another chunk of time. Creating video content for YouTube, that can take a long time. To create a 10-minute video can take anywhere between 3 and 6 hours, depending on what you're doing and how much work is involved. You've got to film the product, so film it, so you get all your pieces of video together. And also, you've got to think of a script. So, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, maybe, in your script. The beginning is the intro, then the middle bit is actually reviewing the product, and the end is like coming out. So you've got to have a script in your head. Not only do you have to have a verbal script, but you also need to have a visual script of how you're going to present the product. So that can take quite a bit of time. So filming everything, then editing it all. And you won't edit it in the same order that you filmed it. You might take bits from one piece of film that you used and put it in the beginning and vice versa and etc. So then you've edited it all. Then you need to add your dialogue. So generally, talking about, reviewing the product. So you need a dialogue, and you do need a script, because you need to know what it is that you're going to say. It might not be a detailed word-for-word script, but it might be blocked off, and that takes time. And then you may want to add music and add some graphics here and there and polish it all up and maybe cut out bits. I've created videos. You try to create a video that's 10 minutes long, and there's many occasions where I've done a rough edit of something, and it's 15, 17 minutes long. You've got to get rid of 7 minutes, and that sounds easy, but it isn't, because everything that you filmed, you want to put in the film, you want to put in the video, in the completed product. So anyway, so you could do your editing, and you put your music on, you lay your music track down, then you do your dialogue track, you polish it all up, you may do some colorization, you may do some enhancements to the audio. So it all takes time, and then you've got to render the video, right? And then you've got to upload it. So all of that takes time. With all of my hobbies and everything that I do, time is finite. And you just got to make time for things and block time off, which can be difficult. So yeah, in terms of playing other sims or games, yeah, it's all I do, but time is finite, and you've got to figure that out. How do you chill out in the evenings? Television, Netflix, whiskey, etc. How do I chill out in the evenings? Well, I chill out by, I do watch TV. I kind of spend the first part of the evening, maybe from 7 o'clock till 8 o'clock, watching TV. And I'll be honest here, I hold my hands up. I do love Emmerdale, and I do love Coronation Street. I've watched them since I was a child, so the part of my kind of socialization and cultural social background. So yeah, I watch Emmerdale and I watch Coronation Street, and then I will spend a few hours doing one of the other things that I've mentioned. So either simming, gaming, video content creation, or ATC. So that's the rest of the evening until around about 10 o'clock, 10:30, and then I will watch something on Netflix, or a film, or very rarely terrestrial TV at that time of the evening, because generally there's not that much that's good on terrestrial TV from 10:30. But I'll pick up a TV series on Netflix. I've been watching Homeland. I know that Homeland has been out quite some time, but I came to it late, and I've been binge watching Homeland like crazy. I'm on to season 7 at the moment, and I really am enjoying that. I really like Homeland. It's good, but there's so much good stuff around if you hunt for it. Like a lot of people, I've got a lot of streaming channels. I've got Disney, and I've got Netflix, and then there's other streaming channels, and of course I can catch up terrestrial TV, whatever's been on terrestrial TV through Sky. So there's always lots of things that I can watch, and generally that takes me up to midnight, and I go to bed at midnight every kind of night, and I wake up at 6 in the morning, so I only get 6 hours sleep a night, sometimes only 5 hours sleep, which is more than enough. But I'm not Casey Neistat. I don't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do 2 hours of emails and then go running and then go into the office. I am retired, so I kind of, take my pleasures where I can. And yes, I do drink whiskey, and I like whiskey. What can I say? If you're not a whiskey drinker, you'll never understand it. But if you are a whiskey drinker, then you'll know what I mean. And not only do I like whiskey, I like Jack Daniels and stuff like that. Okay, so that's leisure time. What else have we got here? What do I hate most about simming? What do I hate most about simming? What I hate most, and I've been guilty of this myself in the past, is the toxic, or the amount of toxicity if that is such a word, it is a word, there can be within the flight sim community between people who fly X-Plane, Flight Simulator, Flight Gear, or Aerofly, or whatever. I hate the my dog is bigger than your dog syndrome, and I understand that people can get very protective of their flight simulator, and I've been guilty of that in the past, and I try not to be. But you know, you will get somebody who will ask you a question, and you know that they're baiting you. They're trying to, you know, get a rise out of you, and I try not to rise to it. But I'm human, and so sometimes I will, and you know, I'll come back with a what can I say? I'll come back with a quick retort or remark. You know, because, you know, I can be as sarcastic as the next person. People in the UK are well known for their sarcasm and dry wit and humour, and yeah. But I do think if there was one thing I could get rid of in the simming world, it would be that. I've started saying this a few years ago, and I keep saying it now. It really doesn't matter what you fly, what simulator you have. It really doesn't matter to, or it shouldn't matter to anybody else what simulator you have, because if that's what you like and you enjoy it, and it gives you what you require, which is a flight simulation experience, then that is fine. It really doesn't matter whether it's X-Plane, FSX, P3D version 1.5 or whatever the hell it is, 4.5, sorry. It really doesn't matter. If you enjoy it, and it gives you what you want in terms of fidelity, flight dynamics, weather, and scenery, and you're happy, that's all that matters. And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. And I know that in the past there have been certain Facebook groups that have really kind of pushed their own agenda, and which has caused some kind of animosity in the community. But I think in the last year and a half, certainly during the pandemic, I think that has calmed down quite a bit. I think it has. I hope it has. So yeah, that's the one thing I'd like to get rid of. And if you want to ask me as a supervisor, because I am a supervisor on VATSIM, one of the things I really cannot understand is that you will get, as a supervisor on VATSIM, our main role is to help, whether it's to help pilots or whether it's to help ATC. That is our main role. And what I find increasingly frustrating is that when I'm supervising and I contact a pilot and they ignore me or they log off as if they're in trouble. And very rarely are people in trouble. VATSIM is a huge network. There's a vast number of people on there, and it needs a group of people to look after it and to keep things, you know, running smoothly. And that is the supervisors in the first instance. And as I say, our main role is to help people. And I just wish that the minority that come to the attention of supervisors understood that we're there to help and not punish. So there we go. Yeah, I think that's about it. What annoys you most about other YouTube simmers? This is a good question. I tell you what annoys me most about other YouTube simmers, and that is the simmers, the YouTubers who say they're doing tutorials, and you click on their video and there is no audio, and all you see is a mouse flitting about the screen or the cockpit, and you have no idea what's going on. And I find that annoying in the extreme. I really do. And it is of no use to anybody, none whatsoever. It just doesn't make sense. And there are a couple of YouTubers, I'm not going to mention names, but one in particular, well, no, there's 3 YouTubers, simming YouTubers, and they cannot be like their YouTube persona. It's impossible. They cannot be like that in real life. And so, in other words, what I'm saying is they don't come across as being real. I remember I used to watch a YouTuber. I'm not going to say his name. It's a simming YouTuber, and his videos were very good. They no longer are. His videos were very good, but he never seemed to take a breath, right? And what I'm saying is he would edit his videos, and I used to do this in the beginning, thinking it was the right thing to do. He used to edit his videos, and he would edit out all of the ums and ahs and maybe wrong words. He would edit all those out, and he would edit out all the parts where he'd take a breath, and so his videos were just like one constant stream of dialogue that was, I was going to say almost perfect, but it was only perfect because he would edit it so finely, yeah. And at first I thought, oh, that's the right way to do it. And I used to do that. I would edit my videos. I would edit my dialogue so that there'd be no ums, no ahs, no none of this and that and then I realised that it wasn't real, because that's not how we speak in the real world. Yeah, that is not how we speak. And so I kind of changed the way that I edited my videos. I kept them more real, and yeah. And then there's a couple of others, as I said, there's 3 in particular, and they cannot be like they are on YouTube. They're just not real, and I find that infuriating. I can only watch, there's one of them, I can only watch him for about 5 minutes at most, and then I just have to turn him off. The other one, I will watch him for a little bit longer, but I find him incredibly annoying. Actually, there's 4. 4. Yeah, I won't say any more. But the worst thing of all for YouTube creators, especially flight sim ones, are those that say they're doing a tutorial. It comes up on YouTube, tutorial of a tutorial A320 cold and dark start, and there's nothing. Like I say, you just see the mouse moving around and so quickly, and you don't know what the heck's going on. Oh, and finally, the other YouTube creators, and this goes for all YouTube creators, the other YouTube creators who are giving you a tutorial, they're teaching you something, but they go too fast, and you cannot, for the life of you, you cannot follow what's going on, and you've got to watch the video countless times. Right, so we've got some questions here. A question, sorry. Airbus or Boeing? Right, so this is from Aviation Whiz, and he wants to know Airbus or Boeing, which oddly enough is one of the questions on my list. So I'll do it now. Airbus or Boeing? Hard question. Very, very hard question. I'll tell you why. I have always been a Boeing simmer. I've flown Boeing aircraft. 737, 757, 767, 747. I love the Boeing aircraft. The MD-11, which, believe it or not, was a Boeing aircraft. So I've always flown Boeing, but I wanted to fly Airbus. And I got a very good Airbus, and I couldn't fly it. I could not fly it. And at that time, and I'll tell you why I couldn't fly it. At that time, I had a yoke. Right, and you cannot fly an Airbus, a good Airbus with fly-by-wire capability. You cannot fly an Airbus with a yoke. It's impossible, because the yokes are self-centering, etc., and all sorts of other things. And I had so much trouble that I got incredibly frustrated. I was really frustrated with it, and So I swore, I said I would never fly Airbus. But then I kind of realised I had an epiphany. You know what an epiphany is? A realisation. I had an epiphany that the reason why I couldn't fly it was because I was using a yoke. So I moved my yoke and I went to the joystick. And as soon as I went to the joystick, everything fell into place. And so now, when you ask the question Airbus or Boeing, it's both. I can fly both. I fly Boeing with a lot more confidence than I fly Airbus, but Airbus, let me put it this way, Airbus are so automated, and rightly so in this day and age, they are so automated that sometimes it can be a real joy to fly an Airbus. The recent A300 from I&I Builds is absolutely incredible. I love it. Haven't flown it for a few weeks, so I need to get back into it. But yeah, Boeing, Airbus, and at the moment I'd say that I'm flying Airbus more than I'm flying Boeing. But I can jump into a Boeing aircraft and I fly it with so much confidence, it's no problem. 757, the 767. I've got tutorials, cold and dark starts on my YouTube channel of all of these aircraft, and so you know you can see. Okay, so that was Aviation Whiz. I hope you're still here, actually, Aviation Whiz, to hear that. Any other questions? Matt Booker's here. Educate first, enforce last. That is the role of the supervisor. Educate first, enforce last. And all the time, help, help, help. Do I like any other streamers? Yes. Are you asking about flight sim streamers? I like Chewy, oddly enough. I like Chewy because I think he's funny. I've met Chewy, and he's a nice guy. I like him. Matt Davis, Bellens. I'm going to say, as a YouTuber, I didn't like him as a YouTuber, but I kind of found him alright as a person in real life. Some people find him a little bit obnoxious. I certainly did not like his presentation style on YouTube, but as a person, I kind of like him. Any other streamers? There's not that many I watch, to be honest, Matt, as you well know. As for the rest of YouTube, I mean, I watch Trent and Ali, which I think is brilliant. They've got a fabulous kind of channel. Trent and Ali, they're building a cabin out in the woods in Utah or Idaho or somewhere. They spent years traveling in a van through South America and what have you, and then COVID hit and they had to rush back home to the United States, so I like them. There's another channel that I like called Good Simple Living. Once again, it's a family that they've moved from Washington. He used to be a police officer. He left his job. They sold all their stuff, and they're building a house as well. They're in northern Idaho. So yeah, there are people, and of course, you know, Casey Neistat. I mean, what's not to like? Casey Neistat wrote the book on YouTube content creation, I think. Emma Bentley, good afternoon, Emma. Nice to see you. Hope you're well. Yeah, so I think that's about it, really, when it comes to streamers. I don't watch that many, I'll be honest. And the ones that I watch, I don't like. But then again, I only watch them for a few minutes. Yeah, like I say. Anyway, who's your favourite YouTube simmer? I haven't got one. Who's my favourite YouTube simmer? What's his name? Gosh, what's his name? Let's see if I can find him on here. Here we go. If there was one, it would be him. I'm going to have to move my face, aren't I? Again. Let's see, where's OBS? let's put that there. If there was one, it would have to be him, I think. Q8 pilot. Although, I mean, he is good. His content is brilliant. Look at that. I mean, look at his site. He's got it off really good. He's got the same thing on each page, and it just looks good. And his equipment, I don't know what equipment he uses. I don't know whether he's ever said. Oh, here we go. He's on a i9 10900 5.1 gigahertz MSI MPG gaming edge motherboard, 128 gig of DDR4 RAM. I remember when somebody told me that 32 gig was overkill. I won't mention any names. 4 terabyte hard drive, 2 1 terabyte SSDs. His graphics card is a Zotac VGA 24 gigabyte RTX 3090, and his power supply is 1200 watts. I remember somebody telling me that 1000 watt power supply was overkill. No names mentioned. Yeah, so yeah, I like him. He's got 53,000 subscribers, over 10 million views. His videos are pretty good, although when he does tutorials or he does full flights, they're really good. They are really good. He talks.
And we've got a new subscriber. Great aircraft. And the A321 is one that I really enjoy.
The only thing I dislike is not. I mean, his voice is great. It's clear. You know what he's saying, etc., etc. But sometimes there's kind of a strange echo effect on his voice, on his audio. But that's something. Nothing. I can watch his videos, no problem at all. Even his hour-long videos, I can watch. So yeah, if I have a favorite simmer, it would be him at the moment. Oh, there's what's his name? I've forgotten his name. Grugo, whatever. I just looked at the bottom of this. Guys. Guess where it was made? I don't know whether you can see that. Is that in focus? Hang on. Tilt it that way. Made in Vietnam. I don't know. It would have been nice if it had been made in Disney in Florida or something, but never mind. Yeah, so I would say he's my favourite. Okay, Emma, I bet people who bought the 3090 are kicking themselves since the 3080 Ti's announcement. And what is that announcement, Emma? That's how far behind I am with graphics cards. What is the announcement of the 3080 Ti? Has it dropped by £500 or something? Anyway, whatever. Let me find questions. We're coming up to an hour now. What would your last meal be? Oh, my last meal forever, or my last meal since I ate? What would your last meal be? I think that's my last meal forever. My last meal would be... Oh, gosh. It'd have to be... I think it would have to be fish and chips from the Ivy restaurant. Would it? I don't know. I have no idea what my last meal would be. Probably be yogurt or something, depending on my age and my state of health. I have no idea what my last meal would be. But I can tell you what my last meal has been. And that was last night, and I bought some fabulous beef burgers, hamburgers from Marks and Spencer's, and I did those yesterday. I had 2. And one had cheese, so it was a cheeseburger, and the other one I had a fried egg. So I had 1 cheeseburger and 1 egg burger, which was delicious. Especially the cheeseburger was brilliant because I had mustard, tomato sauce, and chili hot sauce on it. Sweet chili sauce, which was brilliant, absolutely superb. If you could magic something into flight simming, make something better, what would it be? Laminar, I think I've answered this one before, but into X-Plane, it would certainly be X-Plane's weather engine and clouds. The weather engine isn't that bad, but the clouds, the X-Plane default clouds are pretty terrible. And yeah, that's what I would like, definitely, for sure. More than anything at the moment, I think. It's really difficult to know, when you say magic something into flight sim, flight simulators all do the same thing, to a degree. They have aircraft that you fly aircraft or helicopters or whatever. Yeah. So they all do the same thing in different ways. X-Plane is different from P3D, and P3D is different from FSX, and FSX is different from Aerofly, and what's the other one? DCL or DLC? DCL or War Thunder. They're all different in the way they execute it, but essentially they all do the same thing, which is allow you to fly aircraft. So it becomes hard to know what you would like to put in. So in X-Plane, for instance, I would like to see better clouds for sure. I'd like to see better optimization of the product overall, so frame rates, and kind of leveling out the frame rates, giving parity across different machines. So therefore, we're not always chasing the mega huge machine to give us frame rates. Why can't optimize it for 40 frames per second for everybody? Because that would be more than enough. Yeah, that's what I would like to see. I can't comment about the other simulators because I don't use them enough. Perhaps MSFS, which we had a look at earlier, maybe I'll come back to it again in a moment. Perhaps in MSFS, I'd be happier if we kind of toned down the gamey elements of it. I know you can configure it however you wish, but that takes a heck of a lot. And even to get rid of things such as the HUD when you're in external view. I mean, it takes some hunting out because there isn't a manual for it that I'm aware of. So yeah, I would like to see that. So just to reiterate, in X-Plane, better clouds. In MSFS, get rid of some of the elements that make it feel like a game for me. Like the menu. The menu is always on screen. You've got the little triangle. If it's not there, you just move your mouse and it appears, and you've got that awful menu that can drop down in front of you. I don't like that. Get rid of that. Put it somewhere else. Hide it on a toolbar or something. And that would be really, really neat. And that's about it. That's all the questions answered that were written in when I said, shall I do a live Q&A? What's Rad Miller saying? Interesting observations, Wycliffe. I watch a wide variety of YouTube simmers regardless of their style, some for entertainment, others for expert information. Either way, diversity, in my opinion, makes YouTube great. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I tend, as I say, when I do watch YouTube, I'm not watching simmers per se. I'm watching other people for other things in terms of entertainment, as you've just said. I tend not to watch other simmers. Those that I do watch, there are only a few of them, and I only I watch them for a short period of time. There is one who I do like. I've forgotten his name. Xaviator, IBM, and Jack from FlyJSim. I like watching his channel because generally when he's on, he's actually building his aircraft. So you see him actually working, and I like the way that he interacts with his viewers. I remember he was doing the FlyJSim twin jet over a period of time. He was working on that. He was doing modifications and such, and he was actually asking people who were watching about certain things and then trying to implement them. I remember one evening I was watching, and it was about the hydraulic flow system for the brakes, and he was actually saying, well, in real life it should be like this, and he was actually showing you what it was like and actually modelling that. He was doing that in the build, and then other people were saying, yeah, but in real life you have this, which is part of the feedback system, and that should be in there. And then he implemented that, and I really liked watching Jack do that. He was absolutely brilliant at it. Okay, XP72 VR flight sim guy, it's all good. On a final note, would you rather watch a YouTube simmer that is also a real world pilot or a non-real world pilot, and why? That's a good question, that is. It's a bit of both, actually. A bit of both. There's one guy, 747 pilot, and he does a lot of analysis videos and talks about different things in the real world. And I like watching him because of his analysis. And he's telling you stuff that you would not necessarily know about as a simmer or as just a lay person. And I really like watching him, and I think he's really got it good. In terms of, you said, would you rather watch a YouTube simmer that is also a real world pilot, or right? I would rather watch a YouTube simmer that is not a real world pilot than a real world pilot who is flying flight sim. Does that make sense? That would be my preference. I have watched real world pilots flying flight sim, and it's always very amusing. It's always funny, mostly because they tend to highlight the inaccuracies of flight simming or flying in a flight sim, but also then you get the odd times when they are surprised about what they have found in the flight simulation world as well. But I think I prefer watching simmers, just pure simmers channels, because I don't know. I think there's a natural affinity between flight simmers. Anyway, you know, we all kind of understand the limitations of trying to fly a complex aircraft in a home computer on a screen kind of thing. We understand that there are limitations, that we're not going to have every switch and button working, but by the same token we also understand that we have to operate every switch and button and God knows what else, in comparison to a real pilot in the real world who has a co-pilot who does half the jobs. I know we can do that on shared cockpits in VATSIM, etc. But yeah, I think there's this natural affinity between simmers because they understand the complexity of what it is that they're doing within the confines and restrictions of basically a desktop computer, which in reality bears no comparison to a $50 million plane. I think, I don't know, I'd have to think about that a bit more. Yeah, so I think that's about it. And it seems as though my channel is frozen again. There we go. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the last hour and 10 minutes now. I started off with a bit of COD, and yeah. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. For those of you who haven't seen this, you'll be able to catch it obviously later because it'll be up on the channel. I'm going to investigate XP72 now. I'm going to go and find him. Never heard of him, I don't think. So let's have a look. I wonder. It's obviously X-Plane. Is he 72 years old? Interesting.
Stanima.
Let's have a look. Can we see his? No. I'll have a look at him after. Yeah, I think that's it. So, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. It's the final, you know, it was a two-part Q&A. I did the first part a few weeks ago and today the second part. I'd like to do a Q&A again maybe in the future whereby I get more questions coming in from people, which would be really interesting, rather than me reading off a list of questions. You know, seeing questions coming up on the chat, it's a little bit more interesting and a little bit more organic kind of thing. So there we have it. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you all soon. I'm just going to sort my video out again, so put that up there, and Move this over here. That's better. That should be in there like that. And yeah, we'll see you all again soon. So have a good evening, whatever it is you're doing. Have a great weekend. The weather here in the UK is supposed to be absolutely scorching tomorrow and Sunday. I'm going off flying my racing drones. Flying my racing drones tomorrow. So we'll see you all soon. You take care and cheerio.